Just cracked my foot.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity. Welcome to everyone that's joining us on live stream this morning. And those of you who got out in this beautiful rain that I think we've all been praying for, it's just nice to wake up to that wet air. And for those of you that know that I had to be evacuated from my house yesterday, my house is still standing right now. And the fire's on the hill right behind my house, so if we could just see it, that it keeps moving away. The wind's blowing the right direction right now for us, but also puts lions in danger, so we just see it going out today. We got to get these fires out and put our prayers out to all the people that have lost their structures right outside of Boulder. I have friends that have lost their home, and to send prayers out to all of our four-legged animals that are displaced right now, and just seeing that they find each other, their family and their friends, and that we just see more rain. I think that's really and I think all of our prayers, nobody said it was supposed to rain today, so that's really quite a miracle. So we'll chant this song in gratitude for the rain today and sending our heartfelt prayers out to those who are feeling that trauma of losing everything. So, well, not everything, the physical, not the, hopefully, we know that's what matters is our kids and our families and our dogs and stuff. So, Norm and I will be chanting, and she and I will be the call, and you guys will be the response with Larry.
You truly are.
Good morning, everyone. It is said that the one thing you cannot get too much of in this world is balance. And it's not difficult for us to see while looking at the world how out of balance the world is, especially in our fast-paced, high-tech, mad Western culture. And the masters say that we cannot avoid the incredible tribulation that comes with that madness unless we awaken. What they say is that life is good, bad, difficult, painful, according to our level of awakenedness. So specifically, we are being called to awaken to a more divine level of consciousness, as different from an ego-oriented material level of awareness. That is what our spiritual journey is all about. It's the alleviation of useless, unnecessary suffering. And that suffering occurs because of our definition of our life and our self in terms of duality and striving. So we are called out of that to awaken to reality, the higher reality that allows us to understand balance. Here's a Bible story that declares the human situation. And you can imagine that it being spoken, this particular story, 2,000 years ago, and where we are now, how much more focused we have to be to enter into the truth that this story reveals. It's from the book of Matthew, chapter 22, starting with verse 15. Then the Pharisees went and took counsel how to entrap him, Jesus, in his talk. And they sent their disciples to him, along with the Herodians, saying, Teacher, we know that you are true, and teach the way of God truthfully, and care for no man, for you do not regard the position of men. Tell us then what you think. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But Jesus, aware of their malice, said, Why put me to the test, you hypocrites? Show me the money for the tax. And they brought him a coin. And Jesus said to them, Whose likeness and inscription is on this coin? They said, Caesar's. Then he said to them, now let me put this up on the PowerPoint because I'd like you to really take this with you. Then he said to them, Render therefore to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. When they heard it, they marveled, and they left him and went away. You can see from a historic perspective that the Pharisees, whose religious perspective was traditional, limited, were afraid of this upstart preacher that was gathering this huge following. So they wanted to trap him. And they can trap him if they can get him to say, the only important thing is you are beholden to the one God, as your 10 commandments say. They're waiting for him to say that. So don't bother paying taxes to Caesar, but give all of your money and time to your spiritual lives. He's not going to say that. Because if he says that, don't bother giving taxes to Caesar. They can report him to the Romans who were ruling that country at that time. And they will crucify him because Caesar was considered the only God. He was the temporal only God. And you said don't render taxes to him, then you set yourself up to be crucified. And that's what they were hoping for. But Jesus says to them, why do you put me to this test, you hypocrites? Bring me a coin of the realm. And they bring him the coin, and he says, whose image and inscription is on this coin? They say, Caesar's. He says, therefore, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. This is a very interesting perspective, because this passage is somewhat for those who are still locked into the limited idea and definition of separation. But it's more metaphysical, because when you get right down to it, if you're contemplating the passages that lead up to this, you're going to discover something. And as a matter of fact, if you contemplate the passages that lead up to the awareness that Jesus is spreading, you'll come to understand something. What is the only coin? Since now we're moving out of the temporal into the universal, what is the only coin that we human beings have to render? Whether we render it unto the world, which is Caesar, or unto God, what is that coin? It is one's attention. The only coin any of us have to render unto Caesar, the world, or unto God, spiritual awareness, is our own attention. And that's what's at stake here. So Jesus says, to the degree that you're still locked up in the material side of life, render what you must, but also render unto God the things that are God's. And the problem that we have, especially in our Western culture. We have no problem rendering unto Caesar, the world, the things that are Caesar's. But we are also rendering unto Caesar the things that are God's. So that most of our time and most of our attention are given to the physical side of our existence, ever trying to prosper and create more and more of the physical level of life so that we will have advantages and move more and more into some kind of physical comfort zone. And the one thing that this internal divine awareness, which will never go away because it is our true nature, is advocating, is that we take a hard look at that and ask ourselves this question: do you actually believe, having lived long enough and seen people that seemingly have every material advantage and still are not at peace? Have you seen enough of that to know that there's nothing you can gain from the world, no matter how much of it you seek, how much of it you want, and how much of it you actually get, is ever going to free you and make you have joy and peace and love and a fearless existence in life? Do you want a fearless, loving existence in life? You have to be awake. And all you have to do to be awake is look at the world and realize the world is terribly out of balance. And the conflicts and the suffering created from that imbalance are universal. And no one escapes them unless he or she takes to task the possibility that there is a divine consciousness that we refer to as God, which also happens to be our Creator, who created us in her own image and likeness. How close are we to that image and likeness? How close are we to expressing that image and likeness, which is defined as, can never go away, love? How close are we to that? Unconditional. So you see, these scriptures take us deeper into introspection about our lives. And to begin, and there may be some here that are beginning. Most of you, I can recognize some of you behind your mask, but most of you aren't beginning. Most of you have a real good connection to what we're sharing here in Unity. But if you're new, you need to know that there is a divine presence, an intelligence greater than anything man can even begin to comprehend. It's said of this intelligence that it knows the hairs on your head, every single one of you. It knows when a sparrow falls from a bough. That's how it's trying to describe an intelligence that is incomprehensible to our limited intellectual thinking capacity. So you should have to know that there is this presence. Can we have this short video of this Academy Award-winning actor, who is also an acclaimed...
I'm fascinated by the dream world we live in, our dreaming, sleep dreaming, and that moment of pre-sleep when the subconscious mind whirls up. And my own personal feeling is that, and this is beyond religion or spirituality, is that this is all an illusion, Maya. Because my life has been such. Sitting here tonight, 40 years ago, I wanted to come to the Actors Studio. None of it makes any logical left-brain sense to me. There have been books written about it, Jung wrote about it, that there's something in us that we deeply understand, deep in our nature, deeper than anything we can even begin to comprehend. And that certain moments in our life we get little signals, little flashes. I had one moment when I decided to change my life. Little flashes that says, it's yours if you want it. And I don't know how that happens, but it's happened to me. So that's what I've tried to put into this movie about the dream-like nature of life.
What do you think happens?
I don't know. I think there's a superior consciousness in all of us that we touch into sometimes. I don't know if I believe in anything. I mean, I'm a deity, but I believe whatever that thing is that we talk about for centuries, I think it's just within us. I mean, remarkable things have happened in my life by just wishing or asking for something, for a bit of help here. So and I don't believe, I'm an agnostic, I guess. Is there any way you can help me? Or whatever. And there's something inside us that will respond, I believe. I really believe that. We have to make our lives, because life is tough. We have to believe in the power of life.
He refers to himself as an agnostic. I knew he was going to bring that point. So, as an agnostic, he is trying to explain some phenomena that he has experienced himself. And as we grow in our seeking, we will no longer be able to avoid this truth that there exists within us, at the core of our being, an intelligence that is there to bring us into a more refined level of awareness. And in order to do that, the beginning has two parts. One, you have to believe that there is such a presence. And people like himself who talk about having a really rough beginning, and like many people talk about having a disoriented, strange, misbegotten beginning, and yet have come through to a recognition of the presence of God. We also must do that. And Eckhart Tolle, who is one of those people, admonishes us in this kind of way. Can we have this next PowerPoint, please? In the book Stillness Speaks by Eckhart Tolle, what will be left of all the fearing and wanting associated with your problematic life situation that every day takes up most of your attention? A dash, 1 or 2 inches long, between the date of birth and the date of death on your gravestone. To the egoic self, this is a depressing thought. To you, it is liberating. What will be left of your fearing and wanting associated with your problematic life in the outer-directed, limited world? Every day, it takes most of your attention. And what will be left at the end of that physical life that you are attempting to make God? Just a dash, only 1 or 2 inches long, between the date of birth and the date of death on your gravestone. It's pretty chilling. As we open to this more refined intelligence through spiritual practice, it takes a while because our conditioning has been long in the world. It takes a while to have experiences that are otherworldly, to recognize yourself having a divine peace when things are not going absolutely according to your desires. Recognizing it because you've been doing this practice, and suddenly you're beginning to also recognize the sacredness not only of the healings that take place and the harmony that seems to rise after a while, but the sacredness of suffering. For it is required often enough to break through this long allegiance to the ego-centered, skin-encapsulated self, Something has to break through to be there, a beginning of an awakening. So suffering has its purpose as well in this strange, strange world of Oz. But we approach life without the exaggerated notion, if we approach life without the exaggerated notion that this world can actually fulfill us, bring us happiness, bring us healing, and free us of all the fear and consternation that goes with living as a separate body-mind in a seemingly separate world of other body-minds. That is the illusion. That is the separation. That is the duality that creates all kinds of dissension, conflict, fear, fighting, war, disease, and suffering. That needs to be transcended. And we have to recognize that it needs to be transcended in order to take serious our own spiritual practice. It is necessary for us to each day put into practice a form of yoga. It may be a little different this way and that way. For some people, it has to do with, reading the Bible or listening to spiritual music and then setting an affirmation for the day, or learning to live above the changing tides and circumstances of the world itself. Learning how to stop and pause when things are not going according to your perspective or your expectations. This is it. Ask yourself, are you one of those people that have arrived at the mastery of being able to pause and consider when things are not going your way? Have you done that? Can you do that? Can you pause? If you can't, if you're not the kind of person that does that, if you simply react to conditions and circumstances as they arrive in your life, then you are being defined by the world. So you'll react this way when it's going according to your perspective, expectations, and you'll react another way when it's not. That means you're totally unenlightened. It means you need to see that that's not ever going to bring you into your divine destiny. You are destined to finally awaken and become a God-conscious, God-expressing human being. And that is the only way this world will ultimately find its way to healing. So, it is incumbent upon us to take to task our own awareness. Let's stop taking to task everybody else's awareness and take to task our own awareness. You can measure your spiritual development by the amount of mystical peace that you have. How much mystical peace do you have in your life? In other words, how often are you capable of transcending the changing tides and circumstances of the world and being open-minded, open-hearted in the moment you find yourself capable of serving the moment as it is, appropriately serving the moment to bring whatever peace, understanding, consideration, caring, kindness you can bring, because that only is God living through you. This is Eckhart Tolle explaining the whole journey. This is Eckhart Tolle's yoga. This is the modern day master Eckhart Tolle's yoga for us. Can we have this up on the PowerPoint? From his book, Stillness Speaks, page 91, paragraph 2. When you make the present moment the focal point of your attention, instead of using it as a means to an end, you go beyond the ego and beyond the unconscious compulsion to use people as a means to an end, the end being self-enhancement at the cost of others. When you give your fullest attention to whoever you are interacting with, you take past and future out of the relationship, except for practical matters. When you are fully present with everyone you meet, you relinquish the conceptual identity you made for them. Your interpretation of who they are and what they did in the past are able to interact without the egoic movements of desire and fear. Attention, which is alert stillness, is the key. Can we take this back again, please? I'm going to take this slowly through. Do you know what happens to some people that have been really having a painful life, and they come upon the power of now, and they come upon a passage like this? I've seen it. I've worked with groups. I started my spiritual journey at the ARE in New York City when there were a lot of people in suffering and pain and didn't know how to get by in life anymore. And when you get passages like this, they would fall upon them. They would write them down. They would carry them with them. That's what that first group in my life was like. We were all like that. We were hurting. We wanted to find the way to life, true life. When you read something like this is someone who's explaining to you from the heavens what it means to be truly alive. When you make the present moment the focal point of your attention, instead of using it as a means to an end, that is to get something from the future, you go beyond the ego and beyond the unconscious compulsion to use people as a means to an end, to exploit them, the end being self-enhancement at the cost of others. When you give your fullest attention to whoever you are interacting with, you take the past and future out of the relationship. Do you understand what it means to be enlightened from that? If you allow each person you meet to be that person as you see them only now in the moment, you're not bringing any past thing that took place with them into this moment. You don't have any future projections of how to use this person to gain something from them. You simply are allowing this person to be one and free in the moment. You're letting the past and the future go, which is all that the ego is involved in. What can I get from this? Why do I have to be here with these people? I've got to get out and using the moment to get to something else. There's something better for me to do. I shouldn't have to do this. At the ARE in New York City, the people fell open on top of these things. They would take pages out of books and hang on to them and live from them. I don't know how, maybe it's not that people here are not yet hurting enough. Now, certainly a lot of you have a lot of pain and are doing the spiritual journey. I shouldn't say it in such a general manner. Most of the people I meet in our unity circles here, they are seriously on the path. Your interpretation of who these people are that come into your presence, or what they did in the past, are able to interact without the ego movement of desire and fear upon them. Attention, which is alert stillness, is the key. Being able to pause and be still and have the courage to allow the moment to be what it is. Can we continue with this, please? Okay. So we're going to do one of the spiritual practices. Let me say why meditation is one of the key spiritual practices. Because if you don't do anything else, meditation, automatically sitting still, when you don't think anything is happening, sitting still and quiet, allowing the moment to be okay, not contemplating what's needed, necessary to make your physical life work better, not answering the phone, not being on the iPad, putting it away. Can you imagine being so brave as not to have to know every single moment what's going on in the world? Imagine that. And just sitting still, doing nothing. The ego hates that idea, doing nothing. I could be making phone calls. I could be getting something done in my business. I could be getting the laundry done or the ironing. Or the ego, no, what do you mean doing nothing? Absolutely doing nothing but allowing. In allowing, this divine core energy, this life force rises. And it begins to purify the subconscious mind and its conditioning to live strictly as a worldly being. So even when you think nothing is happening, when you're sitting still or lying still and using a mantra for meditation, something is happening. Your being is being purified and preparing you to become an enlightened, God-serving human. We're going to do our meditation today. I'm going to do a special guided meditation. But before we do that, let's learn how to be present. Just relax. Be okay with sitting here, doing nothing except enjoying the peace of not wanting, not fearing, not grasping, not on the computer, not on the phone, not finding someone to collaborate with, not going to Starbucks to try to get high for a few moments. Just sitting, allowing yourself to say, you know, this ain't bad. Sitting here, having just peace as my partner. Just peace. Let's do that with these bowls. Let us move further into that divine level of awareness with this meditation from the Vietnamese master Thich Nhat Hanh. He suggests that we say each word in our mind with the breath. So when we say a word, breathe in, and a word, breathe out. So it goes like this. In, out. Calm, ease. Smile, release. Present moment, wonderful moment. So with each statement, you're breathing in or breathing out. So stay with this. In, out. Calm, ease. Smile, release. Present moment, wonderful moment. In, out. Calm, ease. Smile, release. Present moment, wonderful moment. In, out, calm, ease, smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment. as we go forth from this meditation to those places we occupy in time and space, let us go forth with a greater determination to seek the internal truth available that delivers us to the very moment to moment awareness of God in every person, in every place, in every condition. For this opportunity, let us feel gratitude, and to this, let us say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now, but we'll do it in our new restricted fashion. We have a basket in the lobby that you can leave a physical offering, or we have those credit card devices that are like dip jars. You can dip your credit card in and out and donate whatever amount you feel you'd like to donate. Those of you watching online, you can go to our website at unityofboulder.com, and you'll see a number of ways for you to donate. Right here, we have them here. You can text or recurring donation or use the dip jars or online at Unity. So you have all those ways that you can donate to truth. The truth that will transform and save the world by transforming the consciousness of the human beings who live in the world. If you are moved, if you are guided, if you have inspiration for this truth being shared at Unity of Boulder, don't hold back. Some people now, since they haven't been arriving in the sanctuary physically, staying at home, have decided it's not necessary to send any kind of donation for whatever spiritual food they're receiving. So to you, I'm asking you to come back to life, because it is in giving that you'll find your way to the presence of God that never stops giving. So bring to mind whatever it is you'd like to donate to this ministry, whatever amount. And let's bless this donation with this divine statement. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. I'll say that again. You can take it to heart if you wish. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. I invite you to go out and get a quick cup of tea and come back for the second service at 11 o'clock. It's going to be so insightful and give you the keys you need, the handles you need to hang on to put to task your own awareness and to get the spiritual work done in your own life. So thank you for showing up, and if you can, show up at 11 as well.